I didn't realize how aggressive that song was. I was going through it and I was like, Okay, so this sounds pretty cool. This is New Zealand music. So, yep, there are some amazing, amazing New Zealand metal bands, and I just enjoy seeing more and more quality come out of New Zealand over the past 3 years, 3 decades, really. Early on, there wasn't that much really quality-wise, and then people were just like really. It was more like there's a mishmash of what everybody heard overseas, like because we get dumped. Being in the bottom of the world, we get everything, right? So we get stuff from like say glam rock to, like me, like I was listening to friggin' what was it? White Snake, White Lion, Marillion um, from UK, and so whatever was in the magazine that was coming out that month, I'd be like, okay, let's see what's at the record store. So I was out there, grabbing whatever was coming out. But I think the most impactful music that I ever heard that really made me go, this is what I want to be into was Megadeth. So far, so good. So what? So that's been my metal journey. So today we're going to be working, and so we're simulcasting between two different both our channels, right? So we've got our Plungecast channel here, and then we've also got our Plunge comics, which I think I've just put over there. Yeah, so this is it here. So that's got the ladies on there from the Tortoise. So you can, if you want to find out what the Tortoise manga is about, you can pop over to that channel later. It's only a half-an-hour video, so I try to like keep do like a half-an-hour video during the week, and then bring our guys on for live interview the week after. So all my videos always, apart from like clips and stuff, they're all live. I like doing live. I don't like to just be standing here recording myself, because I think it kind of feels unnatural to me, because I like the live performance side of it. I like the live in action side of it. It's like going to you can listen to music produced, but sometimes when you go to see it live, you just feel the flow of everybody around you. That's kind of what I like about live streaming and stuff. So let's get some work. So this is this week our guys, all our guys have been working pretty hard on this book, and we had a kind of like a letdown fail, but I don't think it was that much of a failure, because it's just need to, sometimes when you go to do something, it doesn't work out the way it is. Like you try and try again. That's life. And so I think for me, I realized that with the Kickstarter, there were too many, 13 covers is a bit too many, which meant because here's the thing, every time you put a cover on, you got to make sure you have the money to produce the limited number of those covers, right? So if you feel like you produce like the minimum order on there is 25, well, you got to make sure you have money to pay for 25. And so every time you add it, that's more and more added to it. So usually it ends up around about $70 US every time you add a new thing to it. So it makes the budget go higher. But out of that, 30% of whatever you raise goes to Kickstarter, right? So you got to like put on that on top, like the wholesale. Then you got to put the margin for Kickstarter. Then you also got to put in the cost factor to actually produce the work. And so with this one, without going further ado, we're going to be like releasing it under a minimum cover list, like 8 covers, and that's it. And kind of like keep it to like a 10 items kind of thing, and because I know people supported us. I mean, like some people freaking almost $200 for this. So they, you guys out there believe in our project. However, it was a bit, I guess, too ambitious of me, right? And I've learned that. And so we're going to go back and do a smaller thing of that. So what you're seeing in front of you right now is Luiz's, who's our Brazilian artist on Howler, which is a monster mythological creatures from human history ongoing series, around about 12 issues. So there's about three to four, I think there's about 3 or 4 arcs in it. So it's kind of like, season 1, season 2, season 3. Issues. So like it's about 3 to 4 issues per series and per arc. So it's 12 altogether. So he took a couple of weeks off to just, from the work, and he's gone back to it now to do our translations on this, just like with Louise's, with Tomas as well, who's on our manga. And so he's returned to that as well. But talking about Tomas, he's going to be with us tomorrow. Hold on. Let me get that right. So Tomas is actually, I get them confused because it's like Tomas and Louise, right? So let me pop over to the Kickstarter so I know I'm on the right one. So hold on. Right. So Louise is on Howler. Tomas is on our manga. So he's returned to that, and last night he just finished 2 pages of issue 1, because what happened was, like, we already had issue 1 done, and now we're using that older artwork for preview. And you can actually buy that. So I'm just going to do a bit of a shilling before we get into this work, because I want to get into the work. But I think since I'm on this, might as well let you guys know that we do have our comics out here. So you guys can actually check out our digital comics and our magazine, a digital preview, which is for $1 basically, US, right? So it's about $1.60 New Zealand, not even for the price of a coffee, right? So you can actually jump over there. There's a link there for like a lot of numbers there, but if you click on it, you'll get to it. So that has that's got our I'll just show it to you. 3 of our items there, right? We've got this one here, the manga I was just talking about. Will it pop up somewhere else, or will it pop up there? Let me just check. Yep. So that's the 99 cents. So this is like this is a preview of Levi Horvath's #1. So however, we're gonna it's a full-on manga. So it's read right to left, right, the flow, the zigzag kind of thing. So it's reverse of it's like, it's Japanese, right? It's done in that Japanese style because it's manga and it's everything. And I wanted to make it realistic like that as possible. We will be releasing all 4 issues of that as a collected manga, complete manga, black and white, with a couple covers, like in color. I mean, couple pages in color, so you know what the characters look like, skin tone, the environment, just to give you a bit of a idea on these characters. So what Tomas has been doing is that he's been working, like, just before he went into translation, I have to do a lot of character artwork. And so we'll be showing that tomorrow. So today is Friday for New Zealand, but tomorrow is Friday for him in France. So he's over there working in France now with his partner, and they've just migrated there and looking to settle there. He's from Argentina, and so this is his art style here. And so I'm hoping, we'll have him live tomorrow. And it's in the 7 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm not sure what it is for you, around the world, for everybody else. But you can check the. Let me just check it here. So you guys can actually go on to our bit of a roundabout way of getting into this work, but just a little bit of information, kind of housekeeping kind of thing, right? So 7 p.m. tomorrow here in New Zealand, Saturday, and so he's over in France. It'll be 9 a.m. for him. So if you're over in if you're in New York, it's 3 a.m. If you're in Stockholm, like in Sweden, like our other artist Joachim, it's 9 a.m. And then of course with Brazil, with Louise, it's 4 a.m. So it's all over the place. And if you're in Los Angeles, it's 2, right? I mean, midnight. So as you can see, I had to make sure we were able to be on at the same time. And of course, if you're not awake, if you're not awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, right, or 9 a.m. or whatever, or midnight, you can watch that stream on replay, right? And plus, the other thing about our lives, I try not to cut it. The only time it's cut, or as it's trimmed or anything like that, or muted, is when like we get copyright, warnings. Say, hey, look, this is copyright material, like music I play and stuff, and so we'll just mute that. Live stream, I love the whole. It's live, right? So you don't want to like chip in, cut in that. Sometimes I do, however, re-upload, like, and I'll always say this is clipped from, and this is edited, so that you guys know, there's portions of these are missing. So, but there will always be like a link back to the original, so you guys can say, oh, he missed that out. I didn't say it. It's there, right? So thank you for hanging out with me today for this. And back to that, back to Tomas's work. So we've got this work coming up. So I'll be interviewing him tomorrow. Well, we've already talked to him, but just see how things are going. The other thing I want to talk about to him about is translation, right? I'm not sure if this is the first time he's translated, because he translated 44 pages of a comic book into um, Spanish for me, and then also um, Tomas, Louise will be on next weekend, and we'll be talking to him about the Howler and about him translating as well. Because one of the things about I like, something I fall back to as a youth worker, right? When I was in my in my 20s and around about around about how old would I have been? About maybe mid 20s. I was in youth work for a few years, like seriously about 6 years. So part of my kind of thing is always kind of falls back into teaching, and I try not to. I come across as that sometimes I can be overbearing. I know my friends go, "Hey, just shut up, man. I'm just trying to talk to you," and I'm like, I'm trying to tell them stuff about how to do this, do that. So I understand that, and that's fallback like about years of like being 6 years of just being in that role of like being a youth worker, working with 10 to 12-year-olds and then 12 to 30-year-olds, right? While at the same time, I'm around about 27 years old. So I have that sort of like volunteer and paid work and youth work. So I tend to like, you know, kind of always like fall into the tutorial things, like, okay, a mentoring role or something. And, and I think, you know, you kind of sometimes you can come across as a teacher, and I don't like to do that. It's kind of not that fun because I don't find that role myself that interesting when people like you feel like you're being talked down to, even though when you're just trying to help someone. So without further ado, let's get into some work, and I'll try to keep us entertained with some stuff, because this isn't going to be a way too long video. I just wanted to come on and do this because I was supposed to come live yesterday. Didn't feel well enough to do it, and so I put it off, and then I put it off again today, and I was like, yeah, well, let's do something, right? So because one of the things I do want to highlight is how important I feel artists are, and how the work in comics is important. I don't see it as children's, funny papers or children's thing, because this is everybody who works in comics. It's whatever level they think, they're dedicated to that. The only people I don't think they're dedicated to is people who use AI. I don't think they just using it to, for a quick buck. They don't believe in the product. They just feel like this is what they would need to do now to make some money. Anybody can do anything. That's why you have OnlyFans now, right? You can just get naked and just sit there all day long, and people will throw you money. Doesn't matter what you look like, because it's the whole culture we've raced into. It's like whatever is there in front of me, I will just throw money on it, as long as it looks sexy. Or no, sorry, as long as it's nudity or something like that. That's something that I've been like really having to question with, even with our work. Like I feel like that's not something I want to be seen as a comic creator, putting out. Just that you're just the only reason you want to come to my work is because you'll see some nudity or you see some crazy stuff. I want to entertain people. I want people to see that this is a work that I believe in, and that I work with people that believe in this work, and that it's important that we, you know, that this medium survives and doesn't just get thrown to the wayside because of other people's, you know, um, you know, people are welcome to do whatever they want, however they want. Nobody should, censor anybody. But I think there's also a thing where, you kind of like in the work can actually suffer because of the way people come to it. Like they say, art is subjective, and so you can actually, people can go, "Oh," and this is something that I've had to deal with when it comes to New Zealand comics for years, right? And why I work so hard to like really raise my standards personally, right, and what we do. I know the reason I'm doing this is because sometimes I've noticed that when I because in my trying to like show more of the artwork, I don't give enough white line around, like white space around the text, as you can see here. So over here, I'm actually going through because before I get to page 2, we did this to show when we do the Kickstarter what that we are working on these translations that are they're not just English. This is the Portuguese. Of course, the Spanish is one's already all done, and so I kind of like rushed it out without really putting a bit of bit more focus on what it's going to look like in the final piece. So here, I'm going through, and the other thing I think, as much as I like to like not do this, I think all my comic artists understand that this has to be done, right? Sometimes artwork has to be covered because bubbles are bubbles. You have to, it's part and parcel of the two. The two are together, right? The text make this picture come to life. That's why comics is so important for males, right? Because it helps young males and boys, and possibly girls as well, but majority males are very visuals, like I said, right? Doesn't matter what that person looks like, as long as that person's nude, somebody will be paying money for it, right? As long as it's female form. Right. That's why you don't see a lot of males out there doing OnlyFans and stuff like that and that sort of stuff, right? Because males, that's the way we're created. It's just our biology, and you cannot fight that. You cannot fight biology. It's one of the things about life that you just can't. It's the way it is, and it's just millennia of freaking the male brain, the female brain. Females the same way they are, you know. Um, you know, just watch nature, man. It's the craziest stuff. You can learn a lot from nature, you know. So yeah, so we're just talking about like my artists and stuff, right? So as you can see here, you can there's too close to the frame. This is alpha. Basically, this is planet Venus alpha colony, right? So I just realized here that's on the frame, so it's locked. And because it's locked, I got to unlock it. And that's the reason it's locked is because sometimes I go in there, okay, I don't want that to move, and then I'll move over and I'll do the next one. So you can see here, right? I could move that over, and this is I love the colors that I just love the colors on this, man, and I love the line work. I love the inking, just just the way this is all coming across. It looks beautiful. This is the first time you see what our version of Venus looks like, right? In this world, and so you get to see, here goes population 362, including children, Kriankas, right? Kinder in German, right? That's where you get the Kinder Surprise from. Children's surprise, right? Toys inside the chocolate egg, right? I'm not sure if you guys get that I mean, we get them in New Zealand, so you get these little, little toys inside it that are all come in pieces and then like in a little bag, and then you just put it together inside the chocolate. It's one of the most famous, I guess, when it comes to things like that. And I think they might have been the first ones to make it. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's so that's the first page done from that story. So you can see over here, right? This is the entire book. And the other thing I just with this new relaunch, I'm going to be changing the interior of this, and I'm going to put one of our foil covers in here and put this as a wraparound cover. It's something that I've been working on here. So you can see here, this is something the project that we're looking at. I mean, we're looking at relaunching this. We are going to relaunch it. It's just let me pop that out. So this campaign will be relaunched, right? And we're going to be relaunching it with all three. And this is something I didn't do in the first round, right? All three languages will be in digital form as well. So if you speak Spanish or Portuguese, or English, right? You'll be able to get them all. So each one will come with their own covers, right? Am I on the right one? Oh, I think I just missed it. There we go. So, you see, you get the English, you get the Spanish will be coming out, and you get, you get the cover could be, which is a Spanish, and then you get them in print as well, right? So you get the print cover, right? And then you've got, looking at the different covers we're going to be releasing. Ewa Kim's love this cover, and we're going to be releasing the Lab Rat. Yeah, I love the vibrancy of this. It's like just crazy, man. Like I was just like getting these covers, and I was just like now having to slim down is like but I'm going to be able to move that to issue 2. Right, so every cover that we're going to, that we missed out on this one is going to go to issue 2. So it's not like they're not going to come into print, or you're going to miss out not getting those covers, but you'll get them later, right? So you get some covers that won't be that will be only available as I'm saying, showing here, right? Some covers will only be available in foil, and some will only be available in print. So you won't get this in any other form, right? And you won't get this in any other form. You'll get them, so you'll get that in print, and then you'll get that in foil, and then you get that in foil, right? So that there isn't like a mix-up of both covers. And so, of course, there's the one I was talking about, like how I'm going to put this instead of the other one as the cover. So they get the chrome cover and so on. And then you've got the foil virgin covers. So 2 virgin foil covers, 2 variant print covers, and of course, let me just save that. Let's just get rid of that. I think it's like from like I had to restart the computer earlier because I wanted to update. So that's what's from. So that's items already sold. I mean, saved. So the other thing here is like so ABC cover, then C and D, that'll be the variant print covers. Then D and E will be the A B C D E, and will be D and E will be print covers, and then foil covers will be E and F, or F and G, sorry, and H will be the chrome wraparound. So you get 3 different variances, 8 covers all up. And so this is like half the amount that we were doing last time. Like the other time, I think, well, 5 less, I guess. Plus, we're going to do all this other stuff. So, kind of like trying to keep it under around about $1,000 New Zealand. I think that's plausible because I know that's how much we actually came across to, like New Zealand dollars. It was around about $600 US. So I think it's about that much. So I think with that, it's a better opportunity for us to redo the project and start it up. I was a bit bummed, but I mean, we are new, right? I mean, new not to the comic book scene, but new to the crowdfunding scene, new to the public scene, because I've been doing this since 2007, right? But not known because I went away, I had my head injuries and so forth, and just kind of lost a decade there or something, and then trying to come back into it, it's kind of it's hard trying to rebuild from nothing, and what it sounds like to me, but I think we can do that. I'm giving myself 10 years, so because we got so much work. Our guys are doing so much amazing work. As you can see, 44 pages, full color. We just did one last year in Critical, which is what this is from IG. And so one of the other projects we've got is like that you can't see here. Let me just pop that over. Whoops, look at all that. Is this one that I was doing a logo for? It's all meshed up. There's something. Oh, yeah, I see where that's meshed up. So this is something we're going to do. We've got a project coming up later for it. It is. It's all messed up. I had this on every single page, and I was like, "What? I should have just went blank." So now I'm just like, I started deleting it, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to delete it anymore. I just can't be bothered." But so this is, of course, artwork is by Francisco Conti from Italy, and then the coloring is from Edwin Badillo from America, and he's going to be working on our Templeton coloring a Templeton horror comic book, supernatural horror comic book, and that's like a NC-17. I would give it, depending. It's not. It's not X-rated, but it is. Pretty graphic. It's like full-on horror. It's like watching Evil Dead, right? So I kind of class it like Hellraiser and Evil Dead, you know, or maybe kind of more like Constantine and and Hellraiser would be probably better strike. So what basically what I got to do here is like I've got. Let me show you. So between the two of this, hey Nathaniel, hey game mate, thank you for tuning up. So you go, why haven't they responded, right? Pras Shankar is the guy's name, the captain of the ship, and his wife is Suman, and their son is Aaron, right? And now, so between those two of us, like what we do here is like I have to go and get the copy paste this, right? Copy this and then go into, because that's what she's saying, why aren't they responding, Pras, right? And then I have to go and make sure. The other thing I got to do is I have to go and look at my own English text, right, between the two of that to make sure that I'm on both, whatever I'm doing here is the same as, whatever I'm about to write. So this is my script, as you can see here. So we go, I got to make sure that the bubbles are going in the right place. So we've just done this one already translated. So here we are now. Why haven't they been responding? Price, right? So that page is called landfall. So you can see. So we're going to look at, there's four panels, 5 panels on this, 6 panels. So you'll be seeing all that. And so the more panels, the more text, and not only that, the more space gets taken up. So it's usually I get the pencils in, or the rough what would you call it, like storyboard of the page, and then I can go in and go, okay, so I need to move this around here, put this over here, and then send it back and say this is where it's going to be, right? And then also sometimes I look at the artwork and go, okay, well, I can't fit all the text on this. Now I'm going to rewrite it, or I'm going to have to move it onto the next page so it fits. So it's there's a lot of thinking that goes into something like this, and it's especially when this is my first time translating, by the way. Like this is like second time with Portuguese, but this is the first project I'm translating. And I was mentioning earlier about the youth work, right? So it's being taught kind of like getting put into a tutorial role, right? Being as a teacher or as a mentor. What happens is that like you can let me just get that. So I need to get my text. So I go to copy paste. What happens is that every time you learn something, for me, I find that like every time I do this, I learn something new. Like I'm learning how to, some words in Portuguese. I've learned some words in Spanish, because we just done Spanish one. So this is how because it's always always got like when you're trying to do these letterings, you go down to center and you go to center because it'll centerize your work, right? And there it is. Because just make sure it's there. And as you can see, there's enough sort of like white space around the in the bubble around the text that it doesn't need to be readjusted, unlike this one, as you can see here, right? So I'm just having to keep going back and forth between this and the lettering. So the actual translated pages. So apologies for that. So and then coming back on here, right? And on that one, here we go. So yeah, so this is how you. This is a great. This is one of my favorite programs ever. And I started working with this probably about 14 years ago, maybe. This is Clip Studio Paint. It is one of the greatest tools for comic creators, manga creators. It was made for manga, manga, a tool for manga, right? But of course, basically the same thing, right? So because that's why it was called Manga Studio. But because like more, it wasn't kind of Western friendly, some people they think that's manga, so it's like, oh, it's cheap. And so they went and just put in Clip Studio, right? They should have just went something else, not Clip Studio. But I mean, I don't mind it. I think Clip Studio is fine. But just, what does it do? It's a comic creation, all around comic book creating software, right? You can draw on here, right? You got all your colors. You can go to your pencils and tools and stuff like that. Everything. And then also part of this is you can actually animate. You can create animation on here. It's used by animators to create TV shows and stuff. Let me find out where we want to put this properly. Let me think. Now, where's now? Oh, okay, I see what happened there. All right, so just thinking whether if I go here and I could bring that down here. All right, so your eyes would go left to right, whereas if you're Japanese, if you read manga, you're going right to left. So left to right, and then down. Now that's that's kind of one done. Then you go, I'm just worried. I know, dear. This posting is the first outside mass for cryptobiologist Suman Shankar, right? The 36-year-old has been looking forward to her posting on Venus Colony Alpha, right? So she's a cryptobiologist, right? And so on. Let me go back to that page. So now that one's done. Now to Mars. I get that right. Or did I do something wrong here? I think I might have done something wrong. Did I miss a panel? Yes, I did. Am I like, I got it all sorted. Like, okay. It's like, wait, he's still talking. There just isn't enough fuel to return to Mars. Right, now to Mars. No Tomás combustible sufficient para voltar. Right, so now as you can see, it's all, none of all that. So next thing you got to do is like make sure, you try to not have I've seen like, and this is why I'm pedantic about lettering, is like I've seen people just go copy paste chunks of text, and it's like, if you spend a couple more minutes, you could have like actually made it more rounded, more, make it look nice and cleaner. So as you can see here, right, it's all nice, kind of like everything fits in nicely. I've seen people just dump it, and it's like this big chunk of thing, and it goes down like this. And you're like, wait, what? Like, you're not really doing your job as a letterer, to be honest, if you're doing that. But I know, like, I get, there is. That's what I missed. I might take. So I missed a word here. And that word was mate. Amate. It's probably when you're talking and, at the same time you're trying to do work. But I'm getting used to that. Yeah. Because when you're in the kitchen, like I've spent like years in like stuff, you're continuously multitasking. You're like, talking to your chef, talking to your other workmates. You're talking to, you're talking. Sorry, you're cooking, you're washing dishes. So I'm used to it, but like my head is now right over here, so it's kind of a bit bit like, okay, what am I looking at? What am I, what I need to be doing? So back to I'm just worried, right? Isso me pukero, isso me preocupa, worried. I guess that's worried, right? Preocupa. Isso me preocupa. Preocupa. So she's like preoccupied, maybe. Occupy. Yeah, I think that's what it means. I'm just kind of like another word for, worry. I guess it's the Portuguese for worried. So, she's getting. I'm a bit worried, mate. My mind's a bit occupied with this whole thing. It depends, like because a lot of times, language is interesting because you find that language, like when you're you're kind of like, it's kind of like the body language thing. Somebody will say something, but you'll know what they actually mean, even if they're not using the words they say, that they should be using. You get it, like you get me, right? Kind of thing. Yeah, I do. And then you're like, oh yeah, I get it. Sometimes your brain clicks a couple of seconds later. So iso, ise, you say querida, curada. Yeah, there's a big chunk of this is where it gets a bit it's my writing, right? It gets a bit of chunk of information. So when it comes to sometimes I'll break it up, like it's 2 sentences here, right? So this posting is the first outside mass for cryptobiologists, so that's 1 sentence. Now, and then you've got the next one, right? So as I read earlier, so now with that, I'm going to show you what that looks like on the actual text, right? So we've just done that one. So this is what it is here, the caption, right? So the interesting thing here is because I'm having to, and this is why it's broken up like this, is because I'm like, it's come across on as a PDF, and I'm editing off a PDF. So I'm going to have to copy paste, and I've copy paste, and so somewhere here, it's trying to figure out. See that's the sentence there. So it's come across on 2. That's why I missed out the mate before, because it was like on another line. So I've copied that. Now I've got to copy this part after I put it through, because otherwise, with this whole thing, is not going to allow for that silliness. So let's go back to the other one. Right. So we go in here, chuck that in there, give myself some space because I've got to go back and get the other piece and get rid of that. I hit the wrong keys when I was doing it. So the rest of that sentence is cryptobiologista Suman Shankar. Shankar is there's the reason I named this Suman Shankar, like, is there's a very rich family in Fiji. Well, not rich, affluent, right? Family, business family, right? And I thought, like, that'd be interesting to name her that. It's kind of like a throwback to that sort of Fiji kind of thing. So it's like they have a transport. It was like a transport business, like busing and stuff like that. And so I saw that come up, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because I like to like add a bit of like bit of interesting kind of play into what I'm doing. Kind of, I don't know if you want to call it play, or something a bit more grounded. So as I mentioned before, like, it's by breaking that up, it's not gonna be just one chunk of text. It's gonna I mean, it might be okay for if you're doing English, like, but here, because I want to show a bit more of what's going on, right? So I can move it around a bit. And the other thing about this, I can now duplicate that so that I can have a copy of that. And then I'll go back in and get the other sentence, right? And then now I'll go back in there. Now, even after doing this, I'll send this back over to Louise, who's the translator on this, and I'll send over the Spanish one to Tomas and go, hey, please go back over this, read this, and see if I've made any mistakes. Because the thing is this, like, because we speak to, this is a different language to me, it's alien to me, right? So I could make mistakes. I could like have left out a letter, right? I could have left out this word here and not thinking much of it. However, in a different language, that could mean a bit more, right? Like, I think that's what the hell's going on, what he's trying to say. So editing process is most important, right? When you're doing something like, especially like if you're translating, right? You want to make sure the language, that the work that's being read in that language is on par, right? With I mean, it's correct, I should say, not par, but like on par. But the other thing about this is that with like, I don't know the language, so I have to. There's a lot of trust here between, you know, us working on this together, and that's one thing I do have with my team, because I want them, I want them to be uh, recognized for their work. I want them to succeed. I want our work to be like seen as art. I don't just see this as just, oh, it's just a comic book. I want to see this as art, right? I want to see um, people, see the work that all of us have put into this, and see how awesome, talented our team is, because we've got so much more work coming forward. So each work has to, live up to. Let me see if I should write that twice. Oh, that's about right. I think that's okay. Now, one thing I've noticed is that recently there's been an update on this where they've allowed for not only centering, but they've allowed for this. Where are you? You can actually where annoying now. Just had it. There we go. There. So you can actually I gotta update it. I haven't updated it yet, but like, as you can see, right? So you can like, sorry, it's done. I was like, what? Yeah, the notifications would be up. So you can actually do it like this, or you can do it like centerize it, or or to left or right, but you can actually make it look really cool, which they didn't have before. So what I mean is, like, you can see here like alignment, right? You can do like a justify and everything, which they didn't have. It looks pretty icky. Justify is kind of icky because especially, as you can see there yourself. But I think the left align is pretty cool. But for me, I just like the left align, right? Without having to go into the more like the box left line, because one of the things, like, what did I just do? There we go. Pop that back across, all the way across. I give myself space. Is that, like, sometimes words are longer, sometimes they're shorter, and you can, you can try to be magic with them, but sometimes you just go, okay, it's not working. Just carry on, right? But like, it doesn't take much to really make, because I love lettering. It's something that I've really put a lot of time and effort learning as a skill for myself. Because not only, I get to let me quickly save this because sometimes, all that backwards and forwards can like jimmy up the pro app while I'm live streaming. Right, so that's safe. So as I was saying, like yeah, sometimes you can like just wait, try and frustrate yourself out of it. One thing I learned over the years is like if you're kicking against the rocks, right, as they say, and you're not getting any water out of it, so just stop, go away, and then come back later and look at it. And there's something that I've had to, look at myself and what I'm doing with this stuff. So we're going to do another 10 minutes of this, and then we'll close off because I know it's kind of boring just watching me work. And like I said, this was going to be a short stream, just to kind of like, pop on here, let you guys know that, the work is going on. And thank you for joining and popping out. Now I'm just going to pop over to the other channel because it's kind of weird trying to simulcast. It's my first time I've simulcast. And it's, I don't want to like be on one channel and not be able to respond to another channel. So give me a moment there, please. Okay, so let's see, what else can we do here before I finish off? I just want to go back and read my script on there, make sure I'm on the right. So this is Luke Simon, a little boy is still asleep. And then she goes, your soft landing didn't wake him up, right? So let me just make sure I've got everything there, and then we'll finish off. Now, it's really interesting to see Portuguese and like go, okay, so which one of this is what, right? I know this word here now means olha, right? Olha, look, olha means look, right? And so I'm thinking, like, is Domindo sleeping, right? Because he's basically saying, look, a little boy is sleeping, right? Esta, andio esta, and then you go, your soft landing didn't wake him, right? And so it's pretty cool, like, kind of like, I'm sure over time I'll be able to recognize the words when I see it, and in movies and stuff. And this is a great thing about like translating and watching subtitles, watching subtitled movies, because you're learning new languages as even without thinking about it. Because after a while, like I've mentioned, like I watch anime a lot, and even this morning I was trying to finish off a couple anime shows that had just finished off their seasons, and so I one of them was jobless reincarnation, and they just finished their season, and I was in tears at the end of it, like, because I find like people go, well, cartoons can't make you, aren't emotional, it's not, it's not real. It's like, it's just, if you if you've grown up like, I mean, if you're a child and you've grown up reading comics and novels and stuff like that, you know that, like, just because it's not human beings, it doesn't mean that you not don't have a connection to them. There's like this one part there. It's like this, Norn. She's a sister of I can't remember the main character's name right now, but it's his little sister, right? And I think jobless reincarnation is one of the most interesting um, look at Japanese culture, and just the way that world is built is just amazing. Like, I I love um, you know I love learning about other cultures. I think it's something very important if you are you know especially if you're into writing or art or whatever. It's good to learn about other cultures and you know their ways, because often if you don't do that, you can step on some toes without realizing, get yourself into a lot of trouble. I've done that before, right? um but I think it's there's also, all cultures basically are very similar in the way they behave. They just, I mean, you might be some things a bit different culturally, but at the end of the day, people are people. And I think if you go in with, like, in a respectful, manner into any culture, you'll be treated with respect, and people will see that and will go, oh, he's not doing what anything to upset us. He's, or whatever. He's not trying to be an a-hole about it. He's just trying to learn or something like that. And I think, I've been around so many different cultures, and I mean really around, not just facetiously. I've been around cultures, and I actually, live with people from different cultures. I have spent, time in their churches, in their religious places, been in their homes, and so on. And because of that, you know, you get to have a different outlook on life. You get to learn that people are just people. They might have their little um, what's that called, nuance takes on things or whatever, but deep down, they just they, they care just about their families just as much as you do. They care about their culture as much as you do. Or I do, whatever. And they just want to, you know, unless they're really, out there, and there are some that are really out there. Most people are just want to have a, normal life, just provide for themselves and their family and their kids, put a roof over their head. What I do find kind of offensive, though, is like when I see um, people who've gone into other cultures and they want, they take, and without even an appreciation for what's been given to them, what's been offered to them. Like I always say, I'm grateful to be alive right now. I'm grateful to be alive and in New Zealand right now. I mean, like, I'm sitting here talking to the entire world, whoever's watching, right? Because these videos are going to be here forever, right? Unless unless YouTube someday decides, okay, he's this outrageous dude, and we're going to delete his entire channel, nuke it, right? We kind of did get a ban on the Plungecast channel a while back, I mean, last month, and so we're out for a couple of weeks because of that. But not the stuff is still here, not deleted or anything like that. So, you know, um, like I said, people are people. They're just normal, and they just want that. But I think there's some people who are ungrateful, and that's one thing that is a pet, kind of like a pet peeve of mine. It's like, if if you've been offered so much opportunities in another place, just be grateful. Show your gratefulness to that people that have allowed you into their home, right? Because basically, when you're going to another country and you trying to create a home there, There's people actually letting you into their home, right? They have their own way of doing things. And if you want to like kind of like go in, or oh, you should give me this, you should give me that, you should do this. That's kind of like, you know, that's kind of like an offense to people, like no, to an average person. Like imagine that somebody coming to your house going, now give me this beer, give me that, give me that, give me that, right? Or go into your fridges and try to take stuff out, right? I remember I had a friend, well, you know, who used to do that. I'm like, dude, what the hell you think you're doing? Like, you know, this is shared by my household, right? You can't just go and take whatever you want out of the fridge, right? Because, you know, we've got roommates here and, you know, some of that's not even my stuff. But, you know, so you get people like that. And I see a lot of that right now with immigration over in Europe. It's kind of, you know, crazy where people are just not grateful, you know, and then they demand. It's like, well, why don't you stay in your own country, man? Like, because, and you know, because I know as an immigrant myself, right, how great it has been for me, for all the doors that has been open for me. When I was a kid, I didn't think like, because when I'm a child, when you're a child, you're a child. But when I see adults do that sort of stuff, I'm like, dude, seriously, just go back home. If you're so upset about this sort of stuff, just go back home. You know, be grateful for the doors that have been opened for you and appreciate it, because you know some of those doors that have been opened aren't even open for the locals, right? Because you know you're a guest, so they open those doors for you more than they do for them, you know, their own people, because they want you to feel welcome. But then you want to turn around and, you know, you want to treat you know, the locals like they're garbage. And I was like, dude, just go home. If you don't, if you don't feel the love, and if you don't want to be don't want to show the love, go home, because there's other people around the world who would be happy to take your place, you know, and be appreciative, add to, you know, add to that country's greatness, you know, build that place up so that more people can enjoy it and appreciate it more and have a better life for their own families, which you're just taking a spot off, right? It's like people who go to college and drop out after about 3 weeks or 4 weeks. That spot they've fought to get to, that they suddenly, you know, that they dropped out of because they couldn't hack it, or they didn't put enough effort into it, or didn't think about it. Because I went to uni, right? What, you know, what can be classed as uni is a institute of technology, but it's kind of like it, because I got a bachelor's degree, so it's kind of uni, right? And so I was like, why these guys have taken spots that I fought hard for, and some other people's missed out on. Now they're dropping out, and it's kind of sucks when you know when that happens. And you know, when you're sitting there yourself looking at it, going, dude, you just came here and just dropped out, and yet there was somebody that could have been, and they could have taken your spot, could have got that degree they wanted to get because they tried out for it, but they couldn't get because you took their spot, and now the space was filled. I remember thinking that way, yeah. Like when I was at, you know, when I was doing my bachelor's degree in filmmaking, I was like, you know, because I went there with a clear thing. I was like, I'm going to make a feature film. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put that under my belt because, you know, and so on and so on. Because I went, you know, I worked hard to get there. And then, you know, and then to watch people like, you know, not put in just as much and get C's and pass. It's like, hmm. But that's just me, you know. What is it, like 20 years later moaning about it, I guess. But that's something to think about, right? Like if you're applying for some job, remember you're going to be, you know, you're competing against other people for that job. And so if you then do a bad, you know, treat that, you know, that job with disrespect, because that means that you know, there's someone who would have loved to have that job. And this is why a lot of jobs are going to, you know, migrants, right? Because people and like I'm saying, I've talked about migrants, and I'm switching it around. I'm now to citizens, right? So a lot of jobs go to migrants because citizens like sometimes don't want to do those jobs. I'm off that. It's like you can hear a lot of like videos made of like, I just got fired because of the, oh, because you wouldn't call me by my such and such, or treat me like this. It's like, but then there's like a migrant. They're going, see, boss, yes, of course, sir, I will do it. Yes, you know, I'm happy to do it. Just tell me what I need to do, right? And that's sort of like, is how, there's a two coins to immigration. You can sit down and go, oh, I don't want, this job is beneath me. Or you can say, you know what, I'm happy to do it. Mama, so mame. So Aaron, this is the little boy Aaron. So so mama, right? Mother, mama, another word for mama, right? Everybody knows that. But here in Portuguese, it's mame, right? Pop back out. And back out. There we go. So you can see here, more space. Yeah, and so I mean, you can't on the one hand like blame new migrants and taking your jobs, but when then you decide you don't want to do those jobs anyway because they're beneath you, right? It's funny watching these like how people are like using social media to try to shame their bosses, but that same boss is basically gonna find someone else who will do their job because the job needs to be done, and he won't hire a person just like you again because he knows that people like you will complain because he doesn't have the time to waste. He's like working his ass off. Like I remember when I was working, like I was like, okay, I mean for myself, right? When I'm working I'm working for myself now, but when I had my own business, like a brick and mortar, right? I was putting all the hours in that I could. It's like I was go home exhausted, because even this is only about 10 years ago, and I was still walking out with a cane, still with my neck injury, still with my back injury, right? So I could only do like about 5 hours a day. And so I put that in and then I go home. And so if I'm gonna, if somebody suddenly comes in and goes, hey, you should do this, you should do that. I'm like, yeah, I don't have the energy, you know. But the cool thing was that I had friends who were like had the energy, right? They were like, you know, they'd come in and go, hey, Aru, you know, we'd love, can we do this here? I was like, well, sure, as long as you do it, as long as you run it, right? Because I don't know nothing about that. So if you can run it, go for it. Because I have no idea what Yu-Gi-Oh is, right? I don't know what. I've never played trading card games to this level. You know, all I know how to do trading card games was Simpsons. Very easy, not this sort of like mana and all this stuff. And so, there's always going to be, someone ready to step up. And I think it's important to, to appreciate what's being offered to you. I remember, like, I mentioned this before. When I was a kid, I was only, not a kid, 17, 18, 19, 20. I was getting about $6.50 an hour, $6.20. Right? This is New Zealand, so it's like about 60 cents is like about sorry, a dollar New Zealand is like about 60 cents American right now. So not you know uh, you know not that much if you really think about it. And I'm like if I was able bodied, I'd be like, and by able bodied I mean like if I could walk without a cane, like if I could if I could walk around without or be stand up without being in pain, and like in a half an hour, I would happily go and do the jobs that people are getting. People are basically paying. I mean, sorry. Let me just check this. this definitely goes here. So you know, that people are getting paid $20 an hour for, right? I sent that to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago. It's like, man, I would love to be doing full-time work and then come home and do this, right? Or even part-time. But because of my you know, but because of my health, I just can't, and it sucks. And so I'm, you know, I'm stuck in this little, you know, situation watching people who getting, you know, $20, 25, $30 an hour. And I, you know, I would happily do those jobs because that would make, you know, make things a little bit, you know, far easier for me. For all the comics we're creating, I would be able to pay for them all myself, right? Wouldn't have to do Kickstarters and stuff like that, or rely on other people's kindness, you know. But even though I'm still doing that anywhere from, you know, to what I have, is paying other, you know, paying art, you know, coloring to be done and so on, as much as, you know, as possible. And so, I mean, trying to get, you know, get these projects out there and so on, you know, investing in other companies so that, you know, my work, you know, can be, you know, in time we'll be able to be out into the world and stuff. And that's what I mean. Like, I think we need to be a bit more grateful and gracious with each other. And I think, but I just find like these you know, people ranting in car videos about, you know, it's so fun. I was just thinking about like how, I mean, how funny. Sorry, not so fun, but like I think about one of the guys I interviewed. I don't know his name, but he's a comedian, and he does these ranting videos in cars, like to mock, you know, that whole car video ranting things. And so here we go. So I missed that one. Let's get that up there. Because I was looking at it, I was like, I miss here. And so, yeah, Aaron. There we go. Holovid. Yeah, so much, you know, you've all seen the ranting and car videos about whatever, right? Because, you know, there's always someone who's upset about something, and they want everybody in the world to hear about it, know about it. Oh, I did this. Oh, look, I told my boss off, and I did that. And it's like boss is like going, why did I hire that person? But they don't realize it. Like, guess what? All the other bosses out in the world are watching that as well. In your city, that might, I mean, you know, everybody's watching that in the world, and that's there that you've put out there into the world as evidence of, you know, of what you're like. And so the next boss is going to go, yeah, you know, that's not someone I want to hire. You know, that's like a two-edged sword, right? You can complain about other people, and then other people will like, yeah, I don't want to hire you. You know, I saw your video. You know, so you know, I don't think you're a good fit for our company. We'll be a good fit for your company. And then you do another video, right? I went and applied for this job, and then they said I wasn't a good fit for this company. You know, like blah blah blah. I was like, oh, I'm so good. I'm like, I'm a 10. I could have done this job. Yeah, sitting down. But then, of course, and there are, and the other side of that, there's always 2 points, right? I mean, there's always two sides to a coin. And then the other side of that is like you got bosses who like take you know, and I've mentioned this before about my own experiences, right? Having a boss who like I walked off a job not because I was, you know, anything happened to me, it's because something happened to someone else. I was like, "Oh, that's not how you should be treating people, and I'm not going to be working around someone like you who thinks that's how people should be treated," and walked off. I don't, mail me my check. You know, I'll pay because I'm out. right? Because sometimes people just don't people are people, and people excuse me, it's my gut. I woke up about I think about 2 hours ago or something like that, or half an hour, 40 minutes before I started live streaming, because I was up till really late last night. Like I was saying, like I was up trying to finish off a couple of animes, and jobless. Excuse me. I was trying to finish jobless reincarnation. Mushuko Tensei is the English name. I'm sorry, the Japanese name for it. Now, yeah. So there was like I think it was like I'm not sure if it was the last episode of that. Brought tears to my eyes. It was like this really sad moment, right? And this is season 3. It's the last season. I mean, of season 2, part 2 of season 2. So they're working on season 3 now. And as I was saying earlier, like just because it's animation, or if it's cartoons, or if it's pictures, or if it's words and text, you can art has that, right? Like words can form images in your head, and visually, it forms into something really, amazing, and takes you to another world. I just saw a someone posted about a kid reading a book, right? Just like a cartoon strip, whatever, like 2 images, and it was perfect. I'll show you in a minute. Like let me just pop this here. So as you can see here, right, it's kind of big, so it's not. It's better if I put a line there. I mean, a tail, I should say, not line. So I'll put a tail there, and that way I can give it a bit more space between the two, so it looks a bit better. Right. So it's not too clunky. So it felt too clunky there, like in that one, joined together. But also that now allows me to, I can move that down a bit because of that. And now I can put that across there, but I need to get the text first, because sometimes I go and do this and the text is like way bigger or way smaller, and I'm like, I should have just done the text first so I get that right. Now I can do the bubbles, and it's all done properly. So don't worry, you will be able to see everything in the coming days. All right. Good old dad. It's all right, son. It's gonna be fine. No rush. You'll be able to see everything in a few days. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Dias. Proxima. All right. Es cuenta. See what I mean? Like now I can, now I can size it, make sure it's all there, it's in the right place, proportions. Oh, we were talking about earlier about how, Kickstarter and stuff and kind of thing. One of our, supporters, Pete Vasquez from Nobi Comics, and he's got his own thing as well. He was one of, our backers on that, and he sent me a really nice message on Twitter today. So thank you, Pete, for that. Really appreciate it. Now, right, so this is, it's mentioned like how like there's like a older page I just like edit, rather than doing like a new page, I freaking edit it, because what I was trying to do was keep the bubbles. And what I should have done was like just deleted everything, just said copy pasted just the bubbles on it. So that's why you see this from another story on there. So I'm like, delete that, save space. That's it. This is what I was talking about, earlier, about how this friggin' page, I, you know, one of the other logos I was designing, and I used that page, and I was like, I shouldn't have done that, but now it's on every single page. And I have to go in there because some of them are locked, so I gotta have a bit of patience, go in there, unlock it and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I can't be bothered. So this is another page done, right? This is the second page finished. So as you can see, like some changes between the English bubbles set up to make it look a bit more, because as you can see, some words are freaking huge in Spanish, man. Like seriously, where was it? Here, right? There's some big words, man. You know what? Yeah, personalmente, right? And then here, what was that? Now let me just go find it. Okay, so now me too love, and then he goes, what panel? This panel 5, right? Panel 5? Panel 6. So panel 6 goes, so think Aaron goes, no, I just woke up by myself, right? And so then he goes, did I miss the landing? Right? So the landing. This is landing. You see why it's so big, right? I mean, like, what I'm saying is like it's pretty huge. So, and the other thing is that, like, what Louise was saying to me is like, and same with Tomas, right? He was saying like, just because yeah, just because somebody speaks Spanish doesn't mean they speak the same Spanish all across, because there's different dialects and stuff. And so he said, what we'll do for this is that we'll speak the spoken Spanish, right? So people can understand it no matter what area they're from or what dialect they speak. So that was pretty cool. It's like English, right? Like you can try to be highfalutin English speaker, right? But if you just speak common English, everyday folks understanding, everybody will get it. It's like if you go to New Guinea, they'll be speaking like pidgin English, right? It's like this broken, style. And if you go to like is it Ireland, and they have their own, language, and then they have like they incorporate that into English, so that I think my dad was telling me like how, because he's got Irish background, right? His grandma's Irish, and so on, and so and that whole thing, right? Dad being Irish as well, and says it's in the words of Cockney and stuff like that. They kind of break it up, and they have different meanings, so they could confuse like the English people, right? So it's language is such fun stuff. So I want to show you just before I finish off this here and off this page, so you can see here, right? That's it there in black and white. That's in colored, right? Then then we had this one, because I had to like when I was doing the frames and stuff, just trying to make set it up. The way I wanted to give myself space and stuff like that, because you can see here, as we're going across, just making things a bit more, page friendly. So now I'm going to go get rid of that and delete those old pages, because with the good color, it's not necessary now, and that's just also save space. But here's something. Here's the pencils, right? So you just saw the inks before, and you got the pencils, the inks, and then the colors. So this is what I mean, like when I'm, when we like, I get the pencil sent to me, then I'll do the English lettering on top so we can suss out where things are. And then, of course, it gets colored, gets inked, and then, finalized and gets inked and then gets sent. And back to me. And then we go and get it colored. And then I do the lettering again to make sure everything looks great on paper, for the final print. And what that is. All right. So here's, so this is saying the lettering from the other page, right? So this is the lettering from, just so I can have like speech bubbles on this page. So time for that to be deleted. And the more images on each file, the more friggin' higher the bandwidth. I mean, not the bandwidth, the megabytes, right? So the space it takes up. So this is when I go in and clean up like pages we don't want. Waste space, because every little megabyte sort of space taken up by each page is old, unneeded stuff is basically just taking up space on my computer. I went through in one of my folders like about 400 gigabytes, and I was like, holy hell, I got to go and clean that up, because there's like folders upon folders upon folders, and it's like some of them I just don't use, and it's not for work, and it's like just games and stuff. I'm like, that's just not really worth having around. So let me make sure I've saved everything. So we'll go there, go there. Final save on that. Yeah, so with all the talking and stuff, it takes about like, not this long, but like with the talking it's taking that long, but this usually takes about half an hour. Sometimes so I'm very pedant, if something's not really working, might take a bit more time to think through it, probably about an hour per page. So that's about 30 hours, give or take, if you, on a actual, on this, on a 40-page comic book, because, there's a lot of, there's other stuff here that's got to be done, like, let me bring up this. So this is, and these are all, by the way, these have been translated. So I got to do like the, copy paste and set up the artist biography, writer's bio, artist, translator, myself, right, creator, writer, and then colorist bios. So there's about 4 people actually involved in this work, and so you get myself and Francisco, and then you'll get the other page will have this also, showing you what we got coming up for next issue. We got issue 2 of Incredible. We're going to be putting out soon, hopefully not too far away. And then also, this is the one I was going to put in as like it's a new poster, because we haven't printed it yet. And the reason for that is because I wanted this as like this part of it as a wraparound foil cover, because I think that'll look, this would look better as a foil. The other one as a chrome, right? Because chrome, the more colors, the more vibrant it looks. And then I thought I'll put this as an interior poster, because we've got a 2-page poster spread. So this is it here, and then on the back of that we got a pin up, and then we've got like an advert promo comic book cover for that. And also we've got Christian Zaffo, whose Kickstarter is happening right now, by the way, ADAX. Please check that out. And he, on Kickstarter. Right, so his comic, this is a pin-up he did for me, and I included that into the comic book, so I might as well show that. Because he was one of the first guys who said, hey man, I'd love to do a pin-up for you. And I said, oh, sure. Thank you, man, I appreciate that. So it was really cool to and then I decided, for that, and then I decided to like reincorporate that into the actual story in a way, like advertising, advertising for a robot, as well as like a bit of dialogue. So you got this conversation between a buyer and a seller, right, or manufacturer. And then I also played around with coloring it because it's in black and white. So yeah, so we just put that out there. The Alna 3K from Isaac Enterprises, the subsidiary of Earth Mars Collective. So yeah, so get to see that in there as well. And of course, shout out to put in TC Tomas basically inked it for me, and then I went and wrote the story and colored it as well. So yeah, you get to figure out what she's able to do and stuff. And this was fan art, by the way, so this was pretty cool. Now, with that, I think that's us for today for live streaming. And I will thank you for hanging out with me and watching this. This is just, I thought I'll do a bit of like a stream because I'd been planning to do one the other day, and then I put that off because I wasn't feeling well. Then decided to do one today, then I put that off, and I was like, we got a live stream tomorrow night. I should say on 7 o'clock, I think it is, here on if you're watching for the Plunge Comics page, that there, but like you'll be able to, where's the link for that? Right, so we got live stream tomorrow. This is Tomas will be joining us from France, and at 7 p.m. Here's a link. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it. So here's a link for that channel there. So if you hop over to there, if you're already there, thank you. Please subscribe to Plunge Comics, and of course subscribe to this channel as well. If you're new here, and if you like what we're doing, please support us. Check out our Plunge NZ page on Kickstarter. There's a link here, so it's Plunge NZ, right? And thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow night. And of course, like I said, it's going to be like weird time for everybody else around the world, but it's 7 p.m. New Zealand, 9 a.m. France. So whatever, however you watch it, live or on replay, thank you. And we'll see you next time. And like I was saying, if you got a loved one close by, give them a hug and a kiss. Let them know that you care, especially if you've got a young man in the house, right? Or a husband, because we don't get told enough that we appreciate it, and we do need that, right? So keep that in mind. And of course, there's so many ways you can use the internet to do that now, to let people know that you care and you're thinking of them and stuff. So until tomorrow, ka kite ano. Have a good day, have a good week, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Daniel. See you soon, man. I'm missing your vinyls plays, but we'll see you next week on the vinyls, and we'll see you again, guys. Have a good week. Ka kite ano.